Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Local Bedhead here. The first thing I want to go ahead and say about this before we really dive into it. Now, you guys know me. I'm not one to shy away from my personal thoughts and my personal feelings about certain channels. I'm a reactor who gives ideas. I give possibilities. I make theories. I do a lot of that stuff in a more realistic kind of realm. Having said that, I'm also somebody who does speak about other paranormal YouTube channels because I'm a big fan of the paranormal, big paranormal enthusiast. I'm a big cryptid enthusiast. I love UFOs. I love extraterrestrial life, the concept of it. I do believe in that stuff. I'm a big fan of a lot of this stuff. Having said that, we're going to be watching a video by Mythos Paranormal of what has happened to Twin Paranormal. Before we even go into this, I want to let you know that I'm not just going to make this video to come off like a lot of people think that people like me want to come off as, and that is clout chasers, haters. I'm trying to get a lot of money off this. I'm only bashing them. I'm only saying these things because I'm jealous of them. Has nothing to do with any of those things. I think immediately once you start going to the word jealousy, you already lost me, and I can't even have a conversation with you. The concept of I don't even like when people say that other channels are jealous of me as an argument. I normally just give my thoughts, and great on Twin Paranormal if they ever watch Mythos's video and maybe they get some inspiration and maybe you're like, you know what, he's kind of right, because not all videos like this are meant to be bad. Hell, I've had comments. People have left my channel because my channel has gone from one thing into mainly another thing, and I have lost supporters from the olden days that used to be on my live streams constantly. And it's not like I'm not a fool. I know why they left. It's not because they got busy with their lives. It's because I started talking about things and doing things on my channel that just didn't interest them anymore. And that's fine. I want to go ahead and make a message to Twin Paranormal right now. And this is my personal opinion. So Mythos can agree or anybody else can disagree. That's fine. You should stick to your guns and you should continue doing what you're doing, because obviously it's working a lot for you guys, and you guys are you're less than 100,000 away from 1 million subscribers. You guys have been killing it with the content. Regardless of how I feel, and regardless if your content has maybe slightly swayed me over to not want to watch your content as much anymore, I'm not going to take away what you guys have obviously earned on your own 2 feet. I'm not trying to dishearten, or I'm not trying to break spirits. I'm not trying to hurt feelings here when I say one of the reasons why I stopped watching Twin Paranormal is because it got less serious and more silly. It feels like they are trying to aim to a bigger demographic, which is no problem. I mean, that obviously is something a lot of channels do because they know the larger the audience, the more success. And so far, the results show it's working for them. I'm not taking that away. It is what it is. That doesn't mean it works for me. It doesn't mean it works for Mythos. It doesn't mean it works for a lot of other content creators, and that's fine. You know, to each their own, and you should continue to do what you do. I gotta really specify, guys, because people take words out of context. I'm not trying to sit here and say that Twin Paranormal should go down. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, as a fan of them from the beginning, to see where they've come, like, it's impressive the number-wise and the subscriber count-wise, but for me personally, it doesn't win me over. It is what it is. But anyways, we're going to hear Mythos' thoughts. I wonder what he has to say about this. If you guys like this type of content, want this kind of content to continue, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and hear Mythos out, and I'll give you guys my thoughts during and, of course, after the video.
I'm asking this as a form of fan. What has happened to Twin Paranormal? How did they go from this?
We're able to get a little bit of history about the place, but not too much. More or less of what we do know is that there was a woman who did pass away on this property in a house that was built before this house had burnt down, and they think that that could possibly be somebody in the home.
To this.
Okay, guys, we are here at the Truckee River Murder! My friends, murder!
Give us a little wiggle.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it does come off insanely a big change up. Even from that little clip. I don't recall seeing that clip, so it must be from one of their more previous or more recent, recent investigations. Why are you shouting murder like it's a good thing? That definitely is not the Twin Paranormal from the beginning. I feel like the Twin Paranormal from the beginning was a lot more respectful, and when it came to the discussion of murder, they really took a step back and tried to be as respectful as they possibly could be on camera. And I respected the shit out of that. I loved that stuff. That is one of the reasons why I said they were one of the most respectful paranormal investigation crews. And I really wish they stuck to that first example more than the second one and got to the numbers they did today, because then it would have shown that you don't have to be over the top silly, even when discussing dark humor, which I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to discuss, they're trying to make fun of a little bit. They're trying to be silly when talking about something as dark as murder, trying to win over people and make them laugh because they know how dark and how upsetting that is. So they try to be silly about it, to try to kind of bring a little bit dark humor to their content, but it doesn't really work that way, especially with the way they're going about it. And maybe to some people it does, but to me it doesn't. I mean, that was a good example of like, and then the wiggle thing, it's like, why try to dance to saying murder? It's not a funny thing. I know there's gonna be people out there, oh, you candy ass, and dude, it's about being fucking respectful. It has nothing to do with just trying to be funny. I love dark humor. There are times where dark humor is extremely funny. But coming off like that compared to like one of Molly's dark set, and I'm going to use the boys a lot because the boys actually are really talented at bringing good dark humor. But for me, when I see stuff like this, it just comes off, and I don't want to use the word cringe, but I'm kind of aiming towards the word cringe because that's kind of what it comes off like. And it kind of comes off like they're trying too hard to make it funny when it's just necessarily not really all that funny at all. A big change up, yeah, for sure, man.
Now, some of you might be thinking, what am I talking about? Because although if you look at their channel and you see they're growing at a rapid pace, all I seem to see are videos having their lives, which are fully justified, just because of the way they act these days. Not just that, but because of some faking as well, which we aren't going into today, but if you want a quick example, here's one that springs to mind. Beardo showed them faking some paranormal activity and masking things out in editing to make it look like an invisible entity was making the movement. If you're doing that,
wow,
what else are you doing? But anyway, speaking of the way they go on these days,
I'm gonna have to watch one of Beardo's videos on that. I really am. Like, that was interesting. Wow.
acting all crazy and stuff. If you're a long time watcher of them or watch their old stuff, you'll know they weren't always like that. I found their channel about 4 months after they made it. I was used to TV shows like Most Haunted, which were older people than me, and when I found these guys, I felt like I could relate to them more and I really enjoyed their content. I watched all of their videos, and because their channel was only 4 months old, I'd actually re-watch the videos waiting for a new one to come out. I was hooked. They had the odd silly moment, but most of the time they were very professional and conducted their investigations like I'd never seen before. The way they spoke to the spirit.
Exactly. I was about to say that. The way they would speak to the spirits was like they were speaking to somebody on the same level. They weren't speaking down to them like they were children. They would actually have conversations, and it was like one of those things. It was like, damn, like I almost couldn't even believe when people would tell me they don't like Twin Paranormal. I'm like, how could you not like them? And in my opinion, they were very respectful, very classy guys. And it was easy for me to accept the fact that, you know, spirits could communicate with them because I was like, these guys are very respectful. Maybe they just get a sense of that when they go into locations. That was something I would say all the time. Big fan of them at first, and then I don't know what happened. After a while, it just felt more like they were trying to impress the collaborators they would collaborate with, like other content creators that were really big. They would try to impress them and make them laugh more than they would just try to focus on being respectful paranormal investigators.
And asked questions.
It's a shame.
I was like, wow, they're not treating them like a thing. They spoke to them as if they were still actually just people, which was refreshing to see.
Yeah, it was.
One thing I used to love is that they went into people's homes and businesses when these people emailed into them asking for help. They were great videos and honestly made me believe even more. Seeing these other people's experiences and listening to their stories, and then on the investigations seemingly backing up what they've been saying was going on, was awesome. At the time, these were some of the best investigations I'd seen because, like I say, they used to be very respectful, especially in these cases because they were in someone's home. For example, trying to speak to someone's kid brother that passed away.
Thank you so much for communicating with us and talking to us, and thank you, Robin, for letting us come and investigate your home and giving us this opportunity to communicate with your brother.
So as I asked earlier, how did they end up going from that to then acting like this?
Welcome to another episode on our channel. We are
Like,
Twin
look at that back there.
Paranormal, and tonight we're doing something that we haven't done in almost 2 years. Family Nightmare episode!
This family is going through something that is way worse than your typical household haunting.
From poltergeist activity to seeing full-bodied apparitions and even going as far as being physically attacked.
It's time to try and solve this. Don't make us wanna quit. If he's in the closet, then Wyatt will throw him his wallet.
One thing I want to point out and also ask you guys, are they putting this on for the cameras to add another level of excitement and kind of putting it on as an act? Or are they actually just being themselves? And back in the day when they were much more chilled out, was that actually the act? Because one time a few years ago when they tried out a bit of hype in the videos, they got a bit of shit in the comments for it. And in one video, Ryan actually said this.
Another rap video, guys? No, not gonna happen. Bummer. A bunch of people were mad about it. Why? I don't know. I just want to see ghost hunting, not these guys fooling around.
So you see, it sounded like they were holding back a bit because of people saying,
Wow. Wow, what a find. I haven't seen every one of their older videos, so that would have been something I would have obviously completely missed. Wow. That does say a lot, actually, about this whole situation. It does kind of feel like now that they actually have been putting on an act this entire time, and actually being serious only because the audiences were telling them we like the serious content. But now with them growing, and them kind of slowly leaning in towards more of the silly, and now they can fully kind of be themselves. And I love that. Is that it might be weird of me to say. I actually love that they feel like they can be themselves. However, and I know there's going to be people in the comments section who are going to be hardcore lovers of Twin Paranormal, who are going to be, freaking out at me saying that let them be themselves, oh, you're just a candy ass. You can't take, humor like that. It happened years ago, so it's not a big deal anymore. It's just being classy. It's just being classy. Why does it have to be about me just being a candy ass and not like it's just about being a classy individual. You're showing people your content. You're influencing people to act the same way when they go into haunted locations. There are going to be young people who are going to go into these haunted locations and acting as silly as Twin Paranormal, if not trying to be better than Twin Paranormal and more edgy than Twin Paranormal, and they're going to go into these locations being extremely disrespectful. They're going to be running around the house. They're going to be doing all this stuff, and it starts out with acting like this, and it has a lot of, you have a lot of influence. That's why they call them influencers.
Saying that. I don't know, but you know what?
It's weird.
Rewatching some of these old videos, it's actually made me a bit sad at how they've changed their videos so much. Because at this point, watching them old ones, it's a bit nostalgic to me. Putting them on again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Twin Paranormal. Nick is in the videos as well, and he was such a good addition to the team. I'm not actually sure why he stopped filming with them. I do remember he said he lived far away from them, so I had to make trips out to be with them. But to just not make any videos at all with them anymore was a bit weird. He was Ryan's best friend.
You're my best friend,
So if anyone knows where Nick's gone and why he stopped filming with them, just let me know the facts. Do you know what their change in content reminds me of? As I mentioned earlier, I used to watch Most Haunted, which was a UK TV show. I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen it outside of UK, but it was an awesome show. But they started to change what they did over the years. It's kind of similar to their change. If you watch the first season of Most Haunted, they're quite chilled out, no big reactions, and honestly, not a lot used to happen. So when something did, you were like, oh, what was that? I even remember the main host of the show herself even said one time that some of the episodes were cut because nothing happened. Well, that's not good, is it? Not much happening, and then sometimes nothing happening isn't going to make for a good TV show, is it? If you want to get more funding and secure more seasons, you're going to have to up your game a little bit. Their reactions started to get wilder, the knocks started to get louder, objects getting thrown at them started to happen, and more faking. After trying to one-up yourself each episode and each season, it looks like eventually it's just going to lead to faking. Obviously, to give off a good performance, some good entertainment, and get good ratings. The trouble is, Most Haunted got caught quite a bit. And once you get caught, everything that might have been legit before that comes into question as well, which seems to be the case for YouTube channels as well. With Twins, I think the pressure of having to deliver to the audience was just too much because they started getting away from the type of investigations that they used to do and started to introduce devils and demons, and then they were getting good views.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit too overbearing with the Zozo the Demon, which I think was their last video. I saw that I saw their live. I think I hopped on into their live at one point, and I saw their title was like "Trapped by Zozo the Demon" or something along those lines. And the last time they did that, Zozo's name never was even mentioned throughout the entire investigation. And they've also, if you have noticed, they also have kind of been using that app a lot. And I think one of the reasons why they want to continuously use that app is because of their reactions. They can kind of fool their audiences into thinking that this is really happening. And the more they use that app, they're always going to have some sort of activity going on. Right? So the app is always on during their investigation. So there's never a blank or a moment where you're going to be bored. They want something to always happen so that that fucking app is going off every 2 seconds. And it's always saying something that could be relatively involved with what their investigation is, or they can make it somehow be involved with their investigation. So the more I start, it's a shame, man. It's a shame because Twin Paranormal at first was really damn good. Sorry. I know people might disagree with me, but I truly believe the earlier days of Twin Paranormal were by far the best. And I will stick to that probably till the end of my days. Because now it just feels like everything that happens in a house has to be related to the paranormal.
Views on all of those videos, but again, doing the same stuff over and over, then they started to introduce skinwalkers. And this is where we're at now. Every video is talking about some demon or skinwalker, and yes, they're getting great views, but from a fan who used to enjoy them, this is just ridiculous.
It's not right.
Now.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they don't actually seem to try and catch any evidence anymore, because I don't think they're trying to go out and properly investigate anymore. They're going out and basing their stories off what their phones say to them. Every single video, they're basically going out somewhere, having a conversation with their phones. If we took the phones away, I'd bet not much would actually go on. But that won't lead to viewers.
Nope, that's exactly my point, though. They use the phone app because they always want something happening. They always want to keep the audience invested, and it's so much easier. The phone is literally doing all of their content for them. All they have to do is just act surprised, and then try to introduce it or mix it into what the story could be, or like just make up a story and have it go along with that. That's what they do. It's a bummer, man. It's a bummer to see where a lot of these paranormal channels are going.
Sticking around. To make my mind up on this, I've been rewatching the old episodes, especially where they helped people out, and yeah, I much prefer those old videos. Although, rewatching those, I was actually quite shocked to still see a lot of phone activity as well, but there's still way better videos back then. Maybe back then I just didn't notice the phones too much because I didn't understand them to take notice of what was going on. Well guys, that's it for today's rant about twins changing their content over the years. What do you think? Is it an act now? Was it an act back then? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and stick around. It's absolutely free, and I will see you in the next one.
Yep, so we can get strong.
Is that the twins? Or just random twins? They kind of look like them in a sense.
Have them in a secret place, and she picks it in a bowl, a big bowl, and she picks some of the water out, all of the water out. Then she picks some seeds on.
It looks like them.
And then
yeah, my opinion still stands with Twin Paranormal and where they've come today. It's one of the reasons why you haven't seen a lot of reactions to them. I feel like they're more desperate to get to that 1 million mark than anything else. I feel like they're so desperate for it, and they are doing what they can to try to get there faster. And that even means kind of being sillier and more over the top and doing a lot of things that you would expect most of these channels who want to hit that age demographic would start doing. And that's a shame, because they were unique amongst other paranormal investigation groups. I thought so, at least. but now it kind of feels like they're in the mix with them. What a bummer. What a bummer. What a bummer. I like, as a fan myself, actually, Mythos and me, again, I have a lot in common because I was about as big of a fan as he was, actually. And I was really aiming to make these guys my favorite paranormal investigators on YouTube. I was literally saying that. I'm like, I would put these guys over Sam and Colby sometimes. But now it's kind of like I probably would put them far under. But that's just me. Maybe you guys have a different opinion. Maybe you guys still love them, and I respect the shit out of you if you still do. I genuinely want this not to come off like I'm giving them a lot of shit. Clearly what they're doing has worked for them. Whatever they're doing is working for them. But as a fan, it does disappoint you because it's like, you guys really had something unique there, and it would have been so inspiring if you got to this point without having to do any of that stuff. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know your personal thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys have what do you think about where they are from where they came from? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you again, Mythos. I appreciate your thoughts, man. We think a lot alike. So I'll see you in the next one, guys. Please do take care.
If you can't stay, can't start to do, you won't be meant to.